Why don't we move on to ad IDs? And
take this.
You'll take this. Excellent. Okay, go.
There's an effort by the IEB Tech Lab going on right now in the Advanced Television Committee, where today's world, in content you have what are they called? EGRD IDs, you have TMS IDs. Yeah. There's a universal identifier. This is the series, this is the season, this is the episode. You have all this metadata about the content. In advertising, in the U.S. you have the ad ID, the 4As and the ANA, they co-own it. And in linear, it's especially national linear advertising. The majority of the ads have this universal ID. It's Procter & Gamble. It's a Sherman ad. It's 30 seconds long. Mm-hmm. In digital, they're non-existent. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to, you think about live events, and as you have programmatic filling in and whatnot, and you don't really know what ad you are serving because there is no notion of this universal identifier and a universal directory or metadata, it's the Wild West. I mean, sure, everyone in this room streams something, and how many times do you see the same Sherman ad break after break after break mm-hmm. after break after break? Right. Or you get a Ford and a Toyota ad in the same break, and it's all because everyone's trying to do it themselves, and luckily at Paramount we have the resources to build stuff like Conduit, which lets us kind of get the data we need into our ADS so we can do proper global brand frequency caps. When Roku tries to serve the same Atkins ad break after break, we throw it out, because we gotta always remember who's first, and it's the user, it's our fans who want to consume our stories. So the notion of having the linear, it's been in place forever, trying to get that into the digital world is a massive effort that we're really trying to focus on this year.
Sure, CJ.
And just, alternatively, right now it's a blunt object when you do try to block anything. It's an A domain, right? So Ford Dealer Group out of Philadelphia, and then Ford.com, you could have back-to-back ads just because maybe it's the same creative and just there's different deals going on. And A domain is such a blunt object that you would think by now would have been resolved, but really ad ID is the answer. It's just getting everyone to adopt that spec, which is always a challenge to get
You need
adoption.
to explain what A domain is.
Just a domain of the website. So you have an ad, it's for Ford or it's for Toyota, mm-hmm. and generally on the your ad server or wherever the creative's uploaded, regardless of creative ad server or your publisher ad server, yeah. there's a whatever the domain is that would refer back to. It goes back right. to web, where you always had to have a domain, but that's actually what we would use out at SSP for a lot of the blocks and so forth. And again, it's a blunt object when you really need to have that layer of detail that ad ID brings to the table at this day and age. If we want to look like television, we're going to have to follow some of the television procedures.
Yeah. As a side benefit, it improves caching in your ad stitcher, which means that more viewers get a faster ad response and less buffering.
Yeah.
Peter?
And this is something that the big guys have been doing themselves because they have the bandwidth and scope to do it, whereas they're tagging every ad, whether it's a national ad that was already burnt in or a replacement ad that's going, so that they can then detect on the edge whether, if the ad failed, they can at least gain credit for the national ad playing on the digital platform. So I've seen a whole bunch of homebrew solutions with metadata being stuffed in secret places into the stream to get it down to the player. So yeah. This would be nice to have a standard.
I mean, we're one of those people, right? I mean, I think the way I describe it is if you get an ID for a creative, right? Well, it's not really universal, to Jared's point. Somebody's buying us from the trade desk, they're buying us direct. You're buying us so many different ways, but ultimately the actual video might be the same, but you might have a creative ID. It has 5 videos in it, mm-hmm. right? At different dimensions, mm-hmm. et cetera. And so it's really hard to tell this is the same one, right? And I think it plagues the advertisers too. I mean, luckily I think they're trying to, when they have beacons and measurement pixels, they can look at it globally. But it is really hard even for them to tell which videos are performant. And so I think moving to a standard where we know it's the same ad, we've transcoded, also we know whether or not we can play it or not, is really